We got great news. Housing prices are falling and they are going to continue to go lower. And here's why. You'll hear a lot about supply demand fundamentals and how we got more people than houses and there's a huge housing shortage and we need more housing built. That sounds great. However, at current prices, for a buyer to step into your average condo, let's call it a two-bedroom condo. Let's say they can secure something like that for about $500,000. That is going to cost. A lot of variables at play. If you put 5% down, you're looking at somewhere between $35 and $4,000 a month, which, given that that's being paid for with after-tax dollars, requires a heck of a large income for a single person to afford. And even with a couple or two people making that mortgage payment, it's still going to be quite expensive. So the problem we're kind of running into is even though we have people that need the housing, we don't have enough people that can afford the housing. And so ultimately, even though there are people that need it, if they can't afford it, they are not going to be buyers. And if you don't have buyers for a product and you have a surplus of supply, that's where you see prices come down. And of course, when we look at average monthly housing costs kind of historically over time, fair enough, we saw interest rates go to rock bottom levels. Like, boy, I had a mortgage at 1.49%. That's unheard of. Probably won't see that again. And at the time, we saw prices start to move up slowly, then a little faster, and then they rocketed up. 2017 was a bit of a bump to the market. Everything went up by about 100, maybe $200,000. Then it leveled off for a little bit, and then 2020 through 2022, we saw prices double. However, then we saw interest rates with record increases. Some geese. Record increases to interest rates, and we did not see prices come down. Everybody at first was kind of like, well, the guy down the street sold for 700, so why am I not worth 700? So you know what? I won't sell. Some other people put signs in the ground, again, expecting big prices based on other things that had sold. They negotiated down a little bit, but could still find those buyers hanging out in twos and threes that were able to afford the current pricing, often with help from their parents or buyers who otherwise thought, okay, now's the time to jump in because prices are only going to go up. And since 2022, we've really seen things come off and be, relatively flat. There's been some marks up and marks down, and if you're looking at graphs, but prices have definitely come off the peak and are probably kind of stuck in this range now. We are seeing a building of inventory or listing inventory, which means there are more places right now for sale than there are buyers looking to buy them. And again, it's not necessarily that there aren't people that want to be in these homes, but there's a shortage of qualified buyers. We do see this in the rental market as well. It's great that you can get $2,000 a month for a basement apartment. However, there's only so many qualified tenants that can afford 2,000 a month, and sometimes you're getting, a family of 4 or 5 that are trying to move into your one-bedroom apartment for 2,000 because that's all they can afford. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that that's the best setup is to put 5 people in a one-bedroom basement apartment either. So what's happening on the rental side? We're definitely seeing an increase in supply of 1 and 2 bedroom condos. We've seen the city start allowing laneway housing, RDOs, whatever you want to call it, backyard housing. They're making it way easier to add basement apartments, and you're seeing more people take advantage of that, as they should. So we're starting to see more supply, but you're also seeing 1 and 2 bedroom condos that are being built and then put up for rent. And that's where we've seen quite a flood of supply in that kind of 1 and 2 bedroom market, and that's brought some prices down. It's even on the leasing side, days on market have gone up. And so how that reverts back to the sales market, well, again, that's really what it's going to take is an equilibrium between the number of qualified buyers who can afford to pay a price and then the number of listings at said price. You're starting to see more typical real estate let's not call it stigmas, but more typical real estate transactions in that houses on busy roads don't sell quickly. Houses that are in rough condition, they're a little bit awkward, that aren't modernized, that have choppy layouts, they'll tend to still stay on the market. Things that are moving relatively quickly, homes that are priced well, and well priced is usually the low end of the comparables and not throwing up a number that we're hoping for. Um, I guess things that have basement apartments are definitely selling because people are now able to use that income to help them qualify. And I get the real question is: are we going to see prices collapse, the market absolutely crater, and are we going to see long-term pricing decline? Oh, motorcycle gang! All right. Um, Well, I hope not. As much as I do think we will see a flatlining, I think we'll see some incomes come up. In terms of seeing real estate prices crash, I don't know that we're there. I think the long term, we're probably still trending up. And here is what I am watching to, I guess, make that prediction with confidence. Replacement cost. So it's safe to say we're probably not going to say detached housing sell for prices cheaper than one bedroom condo units, for example. And the question then is, if we're seeing housing prices fall, are we going to see condo prices fall? I mean, we've definitely seen it come down, but the numbers when we're looking at replacement cost, we're looking at what the cost is of a new unit. So we're watching new builds. What are builders able to build units for at a price that still provides them with adequate profit and is still desired by the market? I have yet to see builders coming out, at least in this area, offering one bedroom condos at $149,000. I think that price point is long gone because that's pretty close to what the development charges are on a lot of this stuff. Same thing with detached housing. We're not seeing a lot of that coming in and being rebuilt, but we're also not seeing a lot of that come in for under $1 million, for example. So, where does that kind of put us in the next 1 to 5 years? Well, I mean, straight away, let's never make a purchase assuming the price is going to go up. Let's make a purchase assuming it is what you want at a price you can afford, and it's something that you're willing to own for the next 25 years. If you are maybe not thinking, hey, I want to live in this condo for 25 years. Well, can you own it? Can you afford it? Can you justify paying this amount of money on a monthly basis to have your own home? Because there's some value in that, to provide the security knowing that your landlord can't sell it or otherwise change the rents. And the hope is that over time, because again, like we're looking at things in kind of 5 and 10 year durations here, over time, can you hang on to this, pay the mortgage down, and eventually get to a point where you've built some equity, keeping in mind that you're also, living in a house, and there is a cost that we need to allocate to shelter on a monthly basis. So that's where it's a largely personal decision to see how much of your money you can afford to or are willing to spend on living accommodation, and maybe that means if your budget is lower than the current market is going to demand. Maybe you're living with a friend. Maybe you're living with parents. But I mean, ultimately, you're living somewhere. And the hope is that while you're doing something like that, if you're trying to save a bit of money, that you are at the very least able to save some money so that if you do want to get in the market in the future, you are able. I'm supposed to be talking about why prices are going to come down. And yeah, again, I think in the short term, we're probably going to see a little bit more of a pull down on prices. And there will be, well, we're already kind of seeing some weird numbers where you'll see detached housing and condos sell for similar numbers. And you're wondering, geez, how, who, and why? But there is a segment of the market that is quite happy to live in a condo, to put their feet up, to never have to rake the lawn, pull weeds, worry about an ice storm, bringing branches down through the roof. A condo's a perfect play for somebody like that. When you make the decision one way or another, just keep in mind life changes. This is where help of a realtor can come in. You should definitely be looking at your financing, because that's another important piece of the puzzle. And at least go in having a plan. But if your plan is currently to buy real estate or new build condos because you think prices are going to turn around and run way back up, I don't think so. If your plan is to sit on the sidelines and wait because you think prices are going to come down in an amount significant enough that you shouldn't have made a purchase today, also probably still not going to end up in that spot. We haven't seen the wave of foreclosures based on increasing rates. Like, again, bottom of the barrel rates were 1.5%, but like only for maybe 6 months to a year, and even then it wasn't always 1.5. Sometimes it was 2, maybe 2.5, and rates now are 4.5. If you go from a 2.5% interest rate to a 4.5% interest rate and re-amortize out to 30 years, your payment's not going to change enough to force you to sell, really. Sorry for people who are kind of waiting on that, but as somebody who sits on all sides of the equation, we just haven't seen it. So if you'd like to carry this conversation on further, I'm happy to have the chat. Let's grab a coffee, let's grab a beer, and discuss why you think the sky is falling or why you think it's a great time to get into the market. More so, if you are ready to make a move, how we can help is probably the bigger part of the conversation you want to get into. And again, anybody that's known me for the long term, I'm in it as long as you're in it. So I'm not just trying to help you buy a house and then shake your hand, high five, and say see you later. I'm here so that if we do have an ice storm and a branch does go through your roof, call me. We've got tarps, dehumidifiers, stuff on standby. If your mortgage rate does go from 1.5 to 4.5 and you're not sure you can afford it, call me. We can help with stuff like that. If you're looking to get into the rental market and just can't afford anything and looking for some options, call me. We can help with that too. It's probably more than you needed to hear from a guy like me. So if you've made it through all 12 minutes of this, congratulations. Appreciate it. You and my mom are probably the only two people still here. But reach out, let's chat, and hope all is well.